This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everybody. Jordan Girth here from the National Weather Service Office of Observations. Thank you for joining us for the Satellite Book Club Seminar Series. This is session number 122. Happy Thanksgiving coming up next week. Just a quick announcement before we get started today. You might be familiar with the Satellite Book Club session recording archives. Today, we'd like to share a new search tool that can be used with them if you are looking for previous seminars. And Lee is going to have two links in the chat there. And we are going to do a live demonstration of the search tool. Right now, Kashad is doing a search for the air mass RGB. And it's a very easy process. If you have any questions about this new tool, please feel free to get in touch with our TowerS team, and they can provide you with more details. Once again, this is the Satellite Book Club video search app called VV Search. So really exciting, good opportunity to be able to look through previous seminars now that we've had over 120 of them. Today we are on site at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies in Madison, Wisconsin, with both our speaker, Wayne Feltz, and our facilitator, John Gagan. We want to thank CIMSS for welcoming us, as well as for the nearly 24 presenters and facilitators from here over the past 2 years as part of our Satellite Book Club seminar series. The title of today's presentation is the UW-Madison CIMSS Proving Ground, a NOAA Testbed Overview. And the presenter, as I mentioned, is Wayne Feltz, the CIMSS Executive Director of Science and SSEC Associate Director of Science. Our facilitator, John Gagan, Science and Operations Officer from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin Forecast Office. He is a returning facilitator for us, first-time facilitator of our roadshow, of course, but he facilitated back in March of 2021. So thanks, John, for joining us today. As you just heard, this session is being recorded. There will be an opportunity for question and answer after the presentation. We particularly encourage attendees from our forecast offices, our regional headquarters, to post their questions in the chat, and we will field them in the order they are asked. If you haven't signed in with your full name and wish to ask a question, please specify your name when asking a chat so we can follow up if necessary. Just as an additional reminder, you might not be getting our TowerS communications. And if you desire those and you signed up for them, please check your spam folders because sometimes communications are ending up there. I know I've had other important communications go in my spam folder, particularly for people that don't contact me regularly. We're always looking for future presenters, so if you'd like to become a part of our Satellite Book Club seminar series, please reach out to our TowerS team. We are also exploring places to take our Satellite Book Club roadshow too. So if you are at a field office and maybe would like some more direct communication with the TowerS team to bring satellite training and converse with us on satellite products, please reach out to us. We'd love to schedule your office as the next stop on our roadshow. And the training team can help create training materials that may be unavailable or you may be unaware of. Brian Mott at the Office of the Chief Learning Officer can help with that. I'd like to thank all the people that are behind the scenes for the Satellite Book Club seminar series, including Kashad Bowman, Office of the Chief Learning Officer, GOES-R, JPSS, Lee Byerly, our other team members, our facilitator and presenter for today. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Wayne Feltz, who, as I'd already mentioned, is the Executive Director for Science at the Cooperative Institute for Meteorological Satellite Studies here in Madison, Wisconsin, who directs a group of scientists toward a goal of using current derived satellite-based weather decision support products to improve nowcast forecasting. Research achievements include the development of temperature and moisture retrieval algorithms, advancement of satellite-derived meteorological field for operational use and detection of aviation weather hazards, surface-based passive remote sensing of clouds, successful participation in a large number of field experiments, including the deployment of the SSEC Portable Atmospheric Research Center, or SPARC, with numerous meteorological instruments and instrument performance analysis. Wayne, welcome to the Satellite Book Club.
Thank you, Jordan. I just really want to express my appreciation that everyone could join in person, face to face. And this is not my work. I mean, a lot of it, I'm just giving an overview of a lot of what the Proving Ground, that whole area is about. Just also that having like on-site participation from John, and then also having two other folks, actually three other folks fly in to DC and actually having them like here, it's been a very special morning. So anyway, next slide. So I'm just gonna like overview our test, like our participation in like the test beds for the Proving Ground. It's been difficult the last 3 years because of just the pandemic travel restrictions, but I think we still have been able to push things from R to O very successfully. And these are just like a subset of those activities. Next slide. NOAA HWT, next slide. So Probsevere, so this is the third version of Probsevere. Was very well received at HWT the last 2 years. So 85% of folks favored version 3 over version 2 because it would actually sparse out tornadoes versus hail versus high wind events. And they had confidence in it. This is National Weather Service forecasters. And so this is being pushed forward. It's still, the version 3 hasn't gone into operations yet, but we're still moving forward on that. Next slide. LightningCast, this has been amazing. It's been used by many National Weather Service offices. Now with even sporting events, the probability that success with this technique using a combination actually of local lightning detection, but also our GLM satellite data. It's showing really confident proof that you have nowcast time of maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes. But it's amazing to see that just the contours and that forecasts can be made with the LightningCast data. And especially at outdoor events, that's been a huge success. So next slide. And then using the HRRR model, so basically verification of the HRRR model using radiance data from satellites. That's another area that we've been working on with our Proving Ground. And it's been used by many forecasters now, looking at like what the HRRR is saying versus the satellite data is saying in terms of confidence and validation and verification. And it's done with Jason Otkin, Sarah Griffin, and Justin Siegliff. Next slide. And so this kind of gives you an idea of future GOES observation versus like what's really going on, and verification of the model using radiance data from satellite data. It's been shown to be very successful, and it's also was at the HWT Proving Ground. Next. Okay.
There you go.
Really not.
That's okay.
Okay. Next slide. And there's the use of optical flow winds, which is satellite-derived, really high-resolution winds from satellite data, like for in HWT, and also being put into tropical storm and hurricane modeling. And this has been an area that's been expanded pretty rapidly, and that's also due to CIRA. It's not just CIMSS. And this is, so Bob Rabin sent this to me, but also I think it's Jason Apke. Next slide. It's a quick overview of all this. And then OP, so the Ocean Prediction Center, actually, we've got some imagery up here showing LightningCast data over the ocean. This is over Oklahoma, but it basically was tested over the ocean, and they're very happy with it, mainly for turbulence, but also just surface-based ships and that sort of thing with lightning over the ocean. So NOAA Hurricane Testbed. So a lot of AI, so in DL model-based IR window imagery research has been done. So basically looking at applying these models for artificial intelligence, but also understanding where the information is coming from. And basically out in the NHC, CPHC, and JTWC, they've been using this information now for a couple of years. And the basic focus is on rapid intensification, and that's been working out very well. So that's where we're this is an R2O area that we're still working on, but anyway, that's another area that we've been expanding in. Tony Winners and Sarah Griffin, Tim Olander, and Chris Veldman have been really been very working well, very well with this in this area. So and pushing this forward. And then the Hurricane Proving Ground. So it's like RI, rapid intensification, is the hardest problem I think right now with hurricanes. And it's not so much track, it's how fast it's intensifying. And we've seen this over and over again in the last few years. So so a lot of work on that using satellite data to get that higher confidence in RI and where that's going. So next slide. And this gets back to the mesoscale winds, knowing divergence at the top of a hurricane, and that it just ties back to rapid intensification. This has been a very focused area for our work. And Chris Feldman, Dave Stepner, Steve Wanzong, and Bob Rabin and Jamie Daniels have been focused on this area. And again, CIRA has got work on in this area too. So. And that's our focus: divergence, relative vorticity, radial winds, tangential winds, inertial stability using satellite data, but also combining that with model data and AI. I'm just, keep going. Okay. And then turbulence. So Tony Wimmers has a website now that looks at turbulence for aviation at commercial airline levels. Flight levels. And so this is, click on this link, you can actually look at this in real time. He's done a lot of work on this over the last 10 years. And it's also tied into, so the turbulence work is basically a combination of turbulence for major hits with the aircraft, but also IFR probability and LightningCast and Probsevere. That's all been sent to the Aviation Weather Center, and they've been testing all these products. And then we have a blog if you want to look at examples of our proving ground work and just samples of work, and also feedback from other forecasters. There's a blog. And you can actually go back and look at all these different interesting examples. And most of this data is going in AWIPS, so to forecasters. And some of it is R2O, like the IFR probability is in operations, along with Probsevere version 2, not 3. So this is an example of success going R2O through Proving Ground. And I just want to reemphasize Proving Ground money. resources very important because this is working. I've experienced this over the last 15 years now, and Tim Schmidt's in the room and gave me that opportunity to participate and get proving ground flowing here on the university side of the fence, not the NOAA side of the fence, but it all works together. So next slide. An example of flood monitoring from JPSS and GOES together, VEERS and GOES, is offered in this slide. Jay Hoffman has been the lead on this, but it's integrating polar and geo, which I think is where things are going with the proving ground area in general. And I think Mitch Goldberg is leading that area now as an enterprise sort of area focus. So that's where I kind of wanted to tie this off a bit. It's just that there's no geo and LEO separate, that they're all going to come together in some tight uniform way. So, and then also that with proving ground AWIPS 2 infrastructure, keeping that fresh at the university is very, very, very important. That we need resources with that. Next slide. And I just want to say that getting the products integrated into AWIPS 2 for the forecasters is at the top of my list actually right now. We've got computers here that we just upgraded to, but Jordan's in the room. He helped with getting AWIPS going here, AWIPS 1. That was almost 15 years ago. So I just want to keep re-emphasizing that this proving ground demonstration and area is very important to the cooperative institutes on the NESA side of the fence at the universities. So, and plug and play and being able to figure out how things look and working with weather service folks here locally, and also going out into the field and showing them what we can do with our satellite data. It's very, very important. Next slide. And lots of training Scott Lindstrom has been doing. So basically training forecasters in the field just using these different reported videos that are available, including CIRA and including our folks at University of Maryland. Next slide. And then short course activities. Basically, we got accumulated rainfall products going out to AMS. We had a short course at the CCMM in Madison. That was a Scott Lindstrom. Next slide. I think I already emphasized that, but yeah. So basically, making sure things look right in AWIPS. Next slide. And then promoting our future generation, teachers, students, informal audiences. And this is Margaret Mooney's work, going out into the field to the schools. And actually, I've got students coming to my office saying, undergraduate students and high school students saying they want to get into this area. So we're trying to figure that out within CIMSS, our funding, our resources. And there's a gap with COVID with the younger generation. So really want to put that on the table too. Next slide. So the main theme is vital to research operation success is proving ground, and that's the fog, low cloud, Probsevere version 2, hopefully version 3, volcanic ash, which I didn't really get into, keeping AWIPS 2 infrastructure upkeep at universities so we can help to bridge that. In maturing algorithms and visualization presentations to the forecaster and streamline the operationally used, and then basically the other CIMSS decision support products outside of the presentation scope, and then the move on to enterprise proving ground status. I can take that question mark off because I think I like Mitch basically, and I think Dan Lindsay visits tomorrow here. I think there's a plan for that. So. And with that, 22 minutes later, any other questions? I don't know. It was fast.
does go fast. So,
Yeah.
yes, thank you, Wayne. I think we have a couple slides here that have come up. Just a reminder that next week is Thanksgiving. So Satellite Book Club will not meet next Thursday, but it will pick it back up the following Thursday on December 1st. So please mark your calendars for that. Also, there will be a feedback form that'll be posted here in the chat room for folks to take a short survey. We always appreciate your input, and if you have anything to offer, suggestions or feedback for the Tower S folks. And speaking of the Tower S folks, many thanks to Lee Byerly and Kashad Bowman. We appreciate their efforts here. And if you have any questions about the Satellite Book Club, or if you have any questions about configuration for satellite projects, products, or anything of that nature, they are your contacts as well. So I think we are ready to begin with the question and answer session. So if you've got questions, please get them in the chat room. And I'll start off with real quick here, Wayne. You went over a good kind of overview, a broad overview of the many things that you all are involved with. But what's been your personal experience with NOAA research to operations?
It's gotten a lot better. I mean, from the beginning of my career till now, it's like I just see this is like basically the fog low cloud algorithm going into operations, Probsevere, and it's been the proving ground going up in the test beds where forecasters interact and they have confidence and they actually are proponents. That proving ground stuff didn't happen until I think 2010, the program, and it was actually started with the radar, I think, proving ground, and then it got more tied into the satellite proving ground.
Sure.
And so that's been my experience, is that it's been amazing, and also just these interactions between the Weather Service and local CIs that I think really fertilize the proving ground concept, and that I keep advocating that we don't want those researchers going away. That's all, because you never know.
Sure,
right?
Sure.
So,
and you mentioned a lot of proving ground and test bed experience. What does that offer to you? I mean, there's a lot of networking. There's a lot of other opportunities that have grown for that. I mean, for you personally, what has that done for you in the networking world?
Personal relationships. I got to know a lot of forecasters now that I still am friends with from HWT from 10 years ago. I mean, that it wouldn't have had any friendship with. Some are in Alaska, some are in Hawaii, some are, so I think that's been really important because they trust me and I trust them, and also just contacting me, about different satellite questions or what have you. So sure. It's the personal relationships.
Yeah, I don't see any questions coming in just yet, so I'm going to buy more time, and I'm going to take the opportunity here, because one of the great things that you brought up here, and I think you probably agree with this, is the LightningCast.
Mm-hmm.
And certainly at the Weather Service in Milwaukee, we've really expanded our on-site DSS efforts, especially during the summertime. A lot of outdoor events, a lot of outdoor activities. Talking about State Fair, we're talking about PGA type golf events. We did Ryder Cup last year. We also have outdoor concert venues, and to have that resource for LightningCast now is just fantastic. What do you see for the future of that? Is there additional developments? Is there things you want to hear from the field? You want to hear feedback? What makes this grow from where we're at right now?
So it's more like a John Centennial question, or like a Mike Pavlonis question. But no, I think that there's always room to make that science better. But I think it's amazing how fast it developed, AI and machine learning, using different satellite and also ground-based data sources. I think the impact over the ocean has been amazing from OPC, their feedback. And I think over the mountains has been amazing because of fire. Basically you got lightning, you got fires, right? So especially now. So I have anything to offer in terms of the science side, like getting it better, I mean, necessarily, except that there's always new lightning detection resources coming available.
Sure.
And then you bring that into the algorithm, so.
Right. And kind of along those lines, you mentioned Probsevere, big hit, LightningCast, fast becoming a big hit. What other areas do you all think you need to really start to exploit or look more into?
So turbulence, I think, is where we're going with Tony Wimmer's work is amazing. And that's, I think, the next R to O success, because NOAA's funding his research there. And we also have a little bit of private sector funding there. But I think that's where I've always been focusing on commercial airline turbulence. And it's not about fatalities, it's about injuries. That's
right.
Basically.
Right.
And there's always, actually, over the weekend, there were incidents. So that's been my interest, because aviation weather is kind of always been my, like what I've been so focused on. And then I'm trying to think, I think fire weather, we're going that direction. We've got funding for fire weather, and we're gonna figure that out and how to get that data quickly to decision support at the ground. And it's not about National Weather Service necessarily, it's even the emergency operations at the ground. Sure, put it on fire quickly and or not, or at least knowing the fire is there to evacuate. So
right, as far as the initiation or ignition.
Yeah, and Wisconsin really hasn't had fires necessarily, except for Peshtigo in the back in the day, and we had one in Pacony, or that was 10 years ago. But I think that might also grow locally into an area too that as things may dry out, you don't know. Yeah, and drought too, and water. Those are the areas that we're thinking of now. So.
Right. Well, hopefully we can keep fires out of Wisconsin.
Right.
That's certainly a desire on my part. But no, I mean we are leading. We are kind of a widespread, D1, D2, D3 type drought over a large portion of the country. So it's good to hear of where you want to grow in that way. I'll open it up to anybody else that may have a question here as well.
Yeah, I'll ask a question. I guess, John kind of alluded to this. CIMSS has had fuse fog, they had Probsevere Lightningcast. These are some big hits in the field. They're seeing a lot of utilization. Volcat's another one, although
that's
not a lot of
Milwaukee. You don't want that in Milwaukee, right? Not Wisconsin.
It has happened.
Yeah.
I mean, what are the attributes of these successful transitions? I mean, there's a lot of products out there. We don't get a lot necessarily as much usage. We realize that forecasters have fixed amount of time on the shift, fixed amount of things they can look at. There's a lot of products out there, but they are going to a lot of CIMSS products. So what are those elements, attributes of products that have made them so successful? So
it's big data to small data. That's kind of, Probsevere is a case where you take all this information and you have a contour, on an AWIPS for convection, and like it's going to be a tornado hazard or a hail hazard or a wind hazard. And it's a few bits of data. And that's kind of where we need to keep going, is that we have all this data coming down, flowing down from satellite radar, up, Anyway, getting it down to make a concise decision very quickly. And that's kind of what I've seen over the last 10 years is that's the way to go. Cloud computing is now becoming more popular, and I see advantages, and I don't go back and forth about that. But anyway, but I think the main thing is that it's being cost effective, but taking that big data set down to a little data. That's my answer to that.
So you mentioned hazardous weather testbed.
Yeah. There's one in Norman, right?
One, right, and plans for the spring with that.
So Probsevere 3, they're going to go there. I think Jason Otkin wants to go there for the HRRR validation. We'll figure that out. LightningCast, I think, is going to be tested there. So, and then I think those are the 3 right now, because we've been basically not been able to go in the field and participate for the last 3 years. So
Right, and that is going to start again.
and it's going to start again. So that's kind of where we're at. Turbulence, I know Aviation Weather Center wants, actually has a flow now through AWIPS from Tony Wilmer. So, and then Alaska wants the turbulence product. I think they have it. And then Hawaii has been using the turbulence product, National Weather Service, from Tony. So yeah.
That's great.
So if there's a office that wants to get involved with one or more of the products that you're showing, how do they go about that? Do they contact the RS team, or they contacting you, Lee Cronz?
Email me, yeah, and I'll push them to the right person.
Okay.
Yeah, you got a lot of pots on the burner.
I do.
Yeah, it's amazing to look at the slide deck and each one of them, heavy hitters, very targeted, very organized, and it's again for not just from a large R2O02R type perspective, but it's getting down to soup to nuts, to creating those training modules and going out to conferences and things of that nature. So from that perspective, getting down to training,
Yeah.
if there's offices that are interested in this, obviously there's things that are available out there. But what are the resources you would recommend for folks if they want to learn more about it particularly?
So Sunscreen, I think, is our key focal point in Margaret Mooney, those two. Again, this information is being recorded, so and I think I had email addresses for them on there, so people can reach out to them. I think the main thing is we've kind of lost human to human interaction in the last 3 years.
Right.
So that needs to be recreated. So, and it's happening slowly. Because I think even the federal side, they just came back on October 1st, right?
Yep. It is a gradual process,
yeah.
Obviously.
So that needs to happen, because I don't think, I mean, there's situations virtually, like having conferences, it's fine, I guess. I mean, but it's also just this really quick interaction, just person to person and relationship and trusting. It's like that really is huge. So that's my experience. Drop the mic there. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
anything else? Wait a second.
Are there any other questions coming in on the chat?
Been pretty quiet.
Okay. Doesn't seem like it. Maybe today is Thanksgiving and everybody had their turkey already and they're slaving. I haven't checked the calendar. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining us today. Thanks, Wayne. Thanks, John. Thanks for our small audience in the room here for joining us. And thanks to all of you called in on the phone. As has been mentioned, our Satellite Book Club is off next week for the Thanksgiving holiday. So happy Thanksgiving for those who celebrate, and hope you enjoy some time off with your family and friends when that holiday comes for you. Realize that there's a lot of shift workers that do have to pull a shift on Thanksgiving and throughout the Weather Service, and we're very appreciative of that. In the meantime, if you have any questions about the Tower S team, whether it's about the Satellite Book Club or about configuring satellite products in AWIPS, Lee Byerly and Kishore Bowman are always standing by. We got a great team willing to answer your questions regarding that. Any final words from anybody in the room here?
No, I appreciate this opportunity to be out here. It's been a little bit since I've been able to visit, reconnect with you all, and looking forward to doing this more and more in the future. So thanks for having me out here.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, we'll leave it there for this edition of the Satellite Book Club Seminar Series. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in December. Bye now.